Good morning, everybody. We are now live with day 28, the final day of the 28 days of poker study journey. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. It's been a lot of fun studying and showing you how I study every single day, but it takes its toll when you have to actually go online and have a schedule to do it. Most of the time, whoops, hold on a second. Good, playing the audio. That's why I always have the headphones in, just in case when the stream goes live, if I hear it, that means the audio is there. It would create an echo for you. Es no bueno. So anyway, I'm glad today's here, finally here at day 28 of the 28-day challenge. So let's get to it. We're going to start with a hand reading practice of range versus range action. Next, I'll cover my post-session cooldowns and what that's all about. Next, we'll get into a course from peakpokermindset.com called Crack the Code, Free Yourself from Procrastination. And this came to me at the perfect, actually, if I would have seen this course 3 years ago, that would have been awesome. But Dr. Patricia Cardner just created it, brand new. So we're going to be giving it a shot here. And the last thing we'll talk about is gaining perspective. Then later on, I'll come back with a follow-up session, which is a wrap-up session, actually, where we'll talk about our plan for the start of the week. We'll cover day by day. We'll get into my one sheet, my 5-question quiz, and I'll wrap up the full 28 days of poker study journey. Yep, so I'll be doing that. So cool beans. Let's get to it with some hand reading practice here. So got the full ring games again, of course. I shall do a real quick little sharing. Alrighty, so let's do this. Hopefully people will be joining us soon or watching this after the fact. So we got our full ring tables right here. 4,500 hands for the year so far. What was our hand yesterday? Ace King offsuit. Ace King off was the one that we did. No, it wasn't that one. I think we did I think it was an MP hand, right? Yeah, we didn't do the kings because it didn't look like there was much action. Yeah, okay, that was the one that we did right there. This one, ace king. But we were arranging ourselves. We were arranging our opponent, so we want to see showdown with our opponent. So we want to look for carbon games or losing games on ACR. Nothing big here. No. 2+ limpers. I don't want to see, yeah, check, bet, but I don't want to see a limped pot. It might be multi-way. I want to range just one opponent right now. Tiny pot, big blind for free. No thanks. Don't need to see that. Flush ace high. Oh, this one as well. One raise and a caller. Oh, a check, bet, check line. No, we don't need to do that. And then this one up here, check, raise, call, all in. Flop in the flush. We don't need to try to arrange that kind of a hand. It's a pretty small pot. Check, raise, bet. Oh. It's a small pot, but it's an interesting, it's a check, a raise, and a bet line. Let's see what I have. It's in the small blind. Yeah, let's just go for it. Whoops, wrong hand. We shall do it. What is it? 4-8. Another April 8th hand. We've been covering a lot of those right here. Cool beans. Oh, nice. It's a heads up hand versus a super loose passive guy. Look at this. Heads up hand on button versus super loose passive. Interesting. Okay, so hopefully I go for some like super awesome value here versus the guy. We shall see. Oh, on button with Jack 8 off. Wait a second. Have we done this hand? This hand feels like one I've done. I think I've done this hand. Jack 8 offsuit. I apologize. I want to make sure. What day was that? Jack 8 off. 426. Oh, dagnabbit, we did this one already. Close the current tab. Okay, so we shall find another hand. Glad I realized that, because it just looked familiar from that start. Jack 8, and okay, we turn this straight right here. Let's look at some losing hands then. Look at some action here. Bet, bet, call. Bet, bet, bet. Bet, check, bet. Bet, check, bet line. I don't know that we've covered one of those yet before. It's a smallish pot. King 7 off, unopened pot. Oh, that means I probably come in from the small blind for a raise. Cool, okay. Let's take a look at this one. Might as well here. So, switch this up. Apologize for the delay. 4/16 is the date now. But if a hand doesn't fit the bill, or if we've done it before, then we're not going to do it. Great, so okay. We open. LOL, your mom just calls us here, so we could take a look at that. 195 hands, so we have a decent history on the player. We might be able to make something. Oh, no, nothing up here. Call to do 2-bet from the blinds. Ace 4, King Queen, King 5, Queen 10, 10 9 9 8. Okay, so a lot of suited stuff all the way down to the King 5 suited, and then the offsuit gapper and connectors right there. Okay, so a relatively narrow, not super wide calling range. But first, let's start off with our small blind opening range here. Button small blind, I open pretty darn wide, and he folds 60%. Haven't seen him fold big blind versus small blind steel, so I'm definitely capable of opening a lot wider. We'll definitely go every Broadway. Some of these offsuit connectors, every queen right there. So this is my initial range right here. When I'm opening the small blind versus a player who I don't know how they really react, and I'm obviously opening right now with the King 7 offsuit, so I'm taking a chance. Let's say I'll do all kings at this point, and right there. Looks like a pretty good, a nice Minecraft pickaxe range there. Let's see, what is it? 602 combos, 45.4%. Nice. Wide range for my steel. He has a rather more narrow let's double check this. So his calling the 2-bet right here, you can see in the big blind, oh, it's actually 43%. So it's not too narrow. He calls quite wide as well, over 195 instances. So let's go ahead. We'll connect, hold EQ. This first window is us up top. We're up top here. The second window is his. Connect to it. Bam, right there. So let's give him a super wide 2-bet calling range. What's his 3-betting? At 7%. 3-bet out of the big blind, 14% of hands. Wow, so he does like to. So we will want to give him a nice wide range when it comes to 3-betting. Let's 3-bet down to 8s as well, right there. Sweet. Yeah, this guy is nice and nice and aggressive out of the big blind, calls a lot as well. So he probably plays like a 55% range total, which is great for us, you know. And we have a king. We crush a lot of not crush, but we're ahead of a lot of this range right here. So we're looking at 648 combos, 48.9. So he has more combos in his range than we do right now. But I think even though it said 43 or 44%, it's just a little bit more. I mean, we include a lot more of the suited connectors and stuff that he's calling. We could say, actually, he's probably 3-betting all those aces. Is he? Let's not say he's 3-betting all the offsuit aces. I want to keep some aces in his calling range right now. So not all the suited stuff. Let's do that right there. So 620 and 46.8. Make a little bit of a change here. Not too much of a difference, but you know, every little bit counts, and you want to be as logical and as exact as you can pre-flop. But he does have a super wide range there. So currently, as it stands, my range versus his range, we have a 56% equity edge, and that's because, of course, in our range, we've got all the good pocket pairs. He doesn't have any because he didn't 3-bet. He could be slow playing us, but if that's the case, so be it. He done tricked us. 10-3-9 heart, diamond, spade. Okay, on that board you can see it's a relatively well, it's not two tones, there's not a flush draw out there, but there's plenty of straight draws that he could have hit. Let's look at his range on this board real quick. So on the 10-3-9 board, he has a ton of all these suited connectors and suited gappers, even the triple gaps, you know, or double gappers, I'm sorry. Jack 8 has an open ender. All of this stuff in the middle hits the flop in some way, whether a pair, whether 2-pair, gut shot, or an open ender right here. So a good portion of his pot, or his hands, he's got plenty of 10s as well for top pair, plenty of 9s for second pairs. This is not a flop he's going to give up easily on, is my guess right here. And what do we have? We have King 7 offsuit. We have Squad Douche on this board. One overcard, a low backdoor straight draw. Things are not looking pretty. We are, where's he at? Oh, he's right here. Button. We're out. Oh, that's right. Small blind versus big blind. We are out of position right here. He does like to fold to c-bets, 8 out of 10. So I really don't. Actually, I don't like a c-bet right here. I like a check and just hope that he checks behind, because there really is very little fold equity in this instance, because those cards hit his range so well. We hit right here, top pair or an open and a straight draw better, 23.7. He hits 22.6. Actually, you know, now that I look at this percentage, it's worth betting at. Got a lot of under pairs that might fold, a lot of random kings and queens that didn't hit anything, a lot of offsuit stuff that doesn't have a backup, backdoor draw. I think it's worth a c-bet right here. I do. And I do. Oh, that's right. This is a bet check bet line. Okay, sweet. Good. I make the c-bet, and he calls right here. What do I c-bet with first off? I want value out of the guy. He does fold a ton, though. So I don't think I am betting, because it's a relatively dry board, just a 10 and a 9. That's the only thing I really have to worry about. I don't think I'm betting my sets. I think I'm probably waiting one street. Let him catch up with something a little decent. It's not the wettest of boards. I think I'm waiting one street. 2-pair, because I do have 10-9 in my range. I think 2-pair I'm checking as well. I don't think I have those in my range. Over pairs, I'll go ahead and bet right here. Top pairs bet, mid pairs bet, weak pairs bet. Ace high, I would bet those. And obviously I have the King 7. I'm just basically going for a bluff right here, you know. I would bet that too. I would bet all my draws. Yep, right there. So basically I'm only checking my sets. So by betting here, I don't know that he would realize it, but I've kind of capped my range by betting to just over pairs or the best possible hand, because he folds so much. If he was like this guy right here, doesn't like to fold, I'd be betting all my value hands. By betting, I'd be keeping my killer hands in the range against this guy. but against him, not so much. So 97% will say 528. So we've ditched some combos. Oh, we'll write that down in a second. Hold on a sec. Let's go in order here. Okay, so at this point we have 54% equity on this board. His equity, and the flop was 10 of hearts, 3 of diamonds, 9 of spades. Oh, and remember, I got these from, you see it's Split Suit's hand reading. Go to splitsuit.com/templates. You pay what you want for these. I gave him 10 bones for these sheets because I'm so appreciative of all the content he's put out in the past, you know. So we are here. We've narrowed our range, 97%, 528 combos. So by betting right there, I think by betting, yeah, sure, we don't narrow our range at all. Our range is pretty wide with our bet, but hopefully we narrow his range. I mean, the goal is ultimately to get him to fold when we just have a king high hand. But we'll see. We'll see what he does. Cool. So their flop range. He does decide to just call, as we saw on this board. What is he just calling with here? Is he calling with his sets? He has position. He can control the pot size. When we get to the turn, if I check, he can bet to keep building the pot. He's checking his sets. Just a slow play, one street, lull us into a false sense of security, get us a double barrel, then he raises or whatever. So his sets are staying in. 2 pairs are staying in. Top pairs are check calling. Mid pairs are check calling. Weak pairs. Oh yeah, that's all the third pairs. One street. Well, maybe not the weakest of pairs. Let's get rid of those random 3s, but he might call, especially with 8s, 7s, 6s, because they do have kind of backdoor straight equity in their third pair to the board. If I'm betting a bottom pair, he at least has me beat there. So weak pairs, let's filter these out. King, queen. What a jack 3 has a backdoor straight plus a pair. Maybe that's a backdoor gutter. Let's take those out. 6, 3, 5, 3. Let's just take them out, man. Take out the deuces. Take out the ace 3. Oh, maybe not the ace 3. Let's keep the ace 3 in, but take out the king 3. Yep. Okay. Limited it a little bit, you know. Ace highs, there's not many, and he has no backdoor draw. Let's just take those out of the equation. No made hand, take them out. Open-ender, keep in. Gut shots, keep in. Overcards. Oh, well, the overcards have gut shots, so there's no point in even clicking that. If I click it, it won't change at all. Yeah. 2-card backdoor frush. Draw. 1 street. He has position on us. He can control the pot. He can fold on the turn if we fire a bigger bet. So let's keep him in there 1 street at least. So 62.6. 346. Shabop. There we go. Nice. Alrighty. So as it stands right now with the range versus range on this board, our equity is only 46% now because we have so many bluffs, but he's folding a lot of his whiffed hands here. So my action with his action means that now our ranges have changed and the equities have changed. They've flip-flopped on us. What a shame. But that's okay. We have initiative. Let's see what happens on the 5 of diamonds. Now, my equities range will stay roughly 46, 47, 45% or so on this. Where's flops? So many windows open. 5 of diamonds, right? 5 of diamonds, cool. So our range is 46%. Yep. He's at 54. Okay, so what do we do? He called us on the flop. 5 of diamonds comes. We check right here. Okay, understandable. We have absolutely nothing. The 5 didn't help. Didn't add any equity to our hand at all. We check, and then he checks as well. Now, of course, I have $18 behind and 3, so I have a between 5 and 6 stack to pot ratio. If he wants my money, which I'm sure he does, Um, he should be betting here with all of his hands. So what are we checking first off? No, we want value. We're not, yeah, we're not checking sets. We're not checking two pair. Overpair. I'm not checking overpair on this board. The 5 doesn't necessarily scare me if I have aces or kings or something. And if he called the flop, maybe he has a 10, maybe he has a 9, he'd probably be willing to call the turn with those same hands. So I'd be getting value. So I don't think, like, my goal isn't to check raise with an overpair. No way. I don't need to super bloat the pot. If I had an overpair, I'd like to get 1 or 2 streets of value. You don't necessarily need to go for 3, depending on how the board comes out. Top pair, I'm betting. Yeah, I like a bet with the top pair. Definitely. Mid pairs, I'm down with checking. All this other stuff, I'm down for checking. Flush draw. So, oh, no. If I had a flush draw, I would be barreling this as a semi-bluff for sure. No flush draw is in my checking range. Open-enders? Relatively weak. The 5 of diamonds isn't a scare card. I might check those to try to see a free river. The 5 of diamonds is a scare card for him. If it was an ace or a king, that could be a scare card for him. He could fold like a 10 or a 9 if I wasn't on an open-ended draw. But the 5 isn't a scare card, so if I bet here, he called the flop, I would just be bloating the pot with very little fold equity. So I'm not betting those, or checking. I'm not checking open-enders. Wait a second. Yes, I am checking open-enders. I'm thinking a little backwards. I would check the open-ender because I have no fold equity, and I don't want to bloat the pot on just a draw. I want some fold equity when I'm bluffing at the pot, at least a little bit. And the 5 gives me no fold equity. Gut shots I'm checking. Overcards I'm checking. Man, so I've kept a big part of my range still in. Most hands are still in. 99%. So my line so far is not allowing me to 509? Is that right? 509 combos. Okay, cool. So, but what does his check behind tell us? Because I think that really, really caps his range, because he would be betting for sure with position on us to build the pot with anything good, anything decent. So straight, and he bet even half pot or 1/3 pot to get us to commit some chips here. 2 pairs are betting, top pairs are betting. I would say right here, middle pairs. Oh wait, so we can take these out because he didn't bet. Take out the middle pair is checking behind. Weak pair checking. All this other weak stuff is checking. Possibly even the flush draws checking. Let's keep that in his check range right there. Wow. Not much of a change at all. Wait a second. If we don't have his top pair hands in, how is it not changing? Oh, no flush draw. Oh, okay. Hold on a second. Okay, no, we don't want to hit the no flush draw because that's everything, almost everything on this board. Okay, so that makes total sense. I clicked that when I shouldn't have. 436, 84.7. Cool. Okay, good. That makes more sense right there. We did limit it a little bit. We took out some good hands, took out the flush draws and stuff, which I would be betting because I picked up some equity. Now, for this guy right here, I think that's good. He's checking his open-enders, checking the gut shots, checking the open-ender because, you know, why bloat the pot? I showed interest on the flop. I'd probably call a bet here on the turn. He doesn't have much fold equity, and he has incentive to avoid a check raise and to see the free river with his open-ender. So I think those are seeing, I think all that stuff is checking behind. So 262, 78.4. So far, we've taken him down from 620 and us at 602 to 436 and 262. So my plays haven't limited my range that much. I still have a pretty wide range in his eyes. I should. I'm capped, of course, no nutted hands, but I've narrowed him down quite a lot right here, 3/5 or so, something like that. Okay, so the river brings us a miracle 7. We picked up a tiny bit of showdown equity here. Any 10, any 9. If he has pocket 8s, that beats us as well. A set ace 7, I guess. I might have taken ace 7 out of his range a long time ago, but whatever. So 7 of spades hits. Gives us, we don't have to worry about a flush draw or anything. We have some equity here. So, 39% equity, not much, because we have taken a lot of the nut hands out of our range, and the 7 completes a lot of his draws right here. 7 of spades. So what was that percentage? 39%. He's got 61%. So what happens? We bet exactly half pot right there. Smallish bet. Looks like a blocking bet. So I'm going to put us on just a weaker hand for sure. We didn't suddenly hit. I don't know what we could have hit, really. I guess 2 pair. 9-7 just hit. Yeah, stuff like that. So I think I'd be betting a little bit more for value here. Sets or straight, no 2 pair. I'd be doing this with, the middle pair, the weak pairs. Possibly ace high because he checked back the turn. I might be making a bluff, but I really don't think so. I don't think that at all. Yeah. No made hand, I wouldn't be betting. I would just be checking, hoping to see a free showdown here. I think I'm betting with these middle pairs, trying to get a 9 or pocket 8s to fold. Which I don't think it's a good bet. I think I should just check call in this instance, but whatever. We did it. So it limits our range 39.4% and 165 combos. And our So once again, like I said yesterday, the reason we do hand reading practice every day is because this will translate to our on the felt game. It's super important to do. I've limited my range quite a bit from 620 to 165 or 602 to 165, so things are looking good. But he has, if he's paying attention, he can see that we are totally limited. He should be calling with a pretty wide range here. He's raising his straights. Yeah, he did just call. He's raising his straights. He's raising sets here. He's probably raising 2 pair. Over pair, so top pair, middle pair calling, weak pair calling. I think that's what he's calling right here on this board. So if we just, if we just look at that, he has 63% equity. He is calling with quite a few, all the various 3s and then the 5s, which we beat. So he is calling with some fourth and fifth pair hands. So we're getting value out of a little bit. So, but that's why I don't think I should be betting. I think I should be check calling, because he could try to bluff the river with ace high. He could try to bluff with a 3 or a 5. And then I'd be getting some value out of those. And if he's bluffing, he's probably throwing out about a half pot bet like what we're doing right now. So yeah, I don't like the bet. Nope. 55.3. I don't remember what the number was. 136. So we've taken him down from 620 combos and us at 600 down to 165 and 136. And as it stands right now, range versus range, he has the big advantage over us. That's another reason why I shouldn't bet. Just his range is so much stronger at this point, because he has so many more draws than us, and that's 7 hit a lot of those draws right there. Or not just draws, just whatever, just no good hands they hit. So let's see what happens. 8-9 off. Is that in the range? 8-9 off is in the range. Phew-wee. We did. Our final hand reading of the 28 days was a success, thankfully. And 9-8 totally makes sense with his check call on the flop. Second pair, open-ended backdoor, open-ended straight draw. The turn 5 doesn't do anything, but if he's good on the flop, I bet he would have called on the turn. But he checked behind, of course, because the 5 didn't help. And then the river didn't help my range, didn't help his range, so he called again, of course. I was not folding. I would have had to bet multiple streets and more money to get that second pair to fold. Faux show. Yep. Okay, good hand reading practice right there. So, success. Nice. So 18 out of 24, so that is 67%. Wait, no, 74, 75%. Yep, good. 75% success. Things are going well. All right. Oh, what did we have here? King 7 off. Range v range action. Okay, so next up, getting out of the range talk, getting out of the hand talk. Let's talk about poker session cooldowns or post-session cooldowns. Now, cooldowns are something that I take. It only takes 2 to 3 minutes after every session I play. And what I do, there's 3 aspects to it. And post-session cooldowns are all about assessing my tilt. You know, from the beginning, the theme for this week of study is assessing and preventing tilt. Warm-ups are about preventing tilt, heading things off at the pass before they get bad by doing proper warm-ups. Cooldowns, on the other hand, are about assessing any possible tilt that would have happened and just assessing my play in general. So the first part of it is play rating. I give myself a rating. Did I play A, B, or C game status? You know, how was my play? Was I making good decisions? Was I thinking through my decisions? Was I planning for future streets, future cards? Before I c-bet, did I think about if my opponent would check raise or raise me or just call, what I would do on the turn, that kind of stuff. And here, this is just all for you. You should be doing it in your poker journal. So you want to be honest in your assessment because this is the only way that doing this will serve you. If you're not honest, if you always put, hey, I'm in my A game, great decisions the whole time, you're not going to learn anything from it. You know, you're only fooling yourself at this point, and it ain't worth doing. Hey, Treblage, good to have you, buddy. So, lesson learned. This is something, if you could go back to the start of your session and tell yourself one thing to help you with your session or with your play. Let's put that 3 S's. It deserves it. So important. Session. If you could tell yourself one thing to help within your session, what would you tell yourself? So, I mean, it could be something as simple as hey, opponent, opponent Bob 235 loves to call everything in the big blind. Whatever that is, you should learn some kind of a lesson in every session that you play, for sure. Whether it's about your own play, your opponent's play, dealing with tilt, whatever it is. Think about it. You know, you want to give you want to just think about your session honestly, and see what you can learn from your play, because you can learn from anything in life, and your poker play sessions are one aspect you should definitely be trying to learn from. And the last thing I do in my poker cooldowns is tilt. Did you experience any tilt? If so, how severe and what brought it on? How can you improve your tilt response for the future? Right there. So that's one thing. It kind of goes along with your play rating A, B, or C game. If I list C game here, I had better have something in regards to tilt that I experienced, because if I'm playing my C game, it's possible I'm just falling asleep at the table and I'm barely able to pay attention. That's possible. But more likely is that something happened in the session, my emotions started to run high, and I started just make bad decisions and get angry and start spewing chips. Whatever the case, I need to recognize that tilt and assess it by writing about it and how severe it was, and what brought it on is key, actually. That is key. Because whatever brought it on is something for you to dive into and try to understand about your own feelings and why that happened. You know, did you get sucked out on? Did your pocket jacks lose to pocket aces? Did your superficial opponent who you had position on actually take your full stack because you bluffed and spewed chips on the flop, turn, and river? Whatever it is, whatever brought it on is important for you to dive into and understand. All right, so that's why I do my post-session cooldowns. They are for tilt assessment. All right, let's see here. So the next thing I want to talk about is poker courses. We haven't discussed or seen any poker courses in this 28 days yet. And actually in my book right here, How to Study Poker, actually it feels pretty cool, you know, holding your own book in your hands is pretty... Never had a book before, of course. Where is it at? It's right here at the end. Okay, cool. On page 148, I talk about learning from online courses by finishing them. Too many of us, we own webinars, we bought into courses, we've logged in, we got through a quarter of it, a half of it, or whatever the case. and we just never finished the course. A big part of a big part of learning is getting the work done, getting in there and doing it. And we spent money on a course, $197, $300, $500 for Split Suits Handreading Lab. If you pay that much money for a course and don't finish it, you're just hurting yourself, definitely. So this is the first course we're going to be talking about. It's from peakpokermindset.com, which is Dr. Patricia Cardner's her website, and it's a great course. And to be honest, we'll look at it right now. I've only done the very first module on it, not even the first module, just the welcome. But looking at everything she talks about, I think it's going to be a great course. So I'm definitely going to finish it. And this is something I totally need because I suffer from procrastination big time. So let's pull up the site right here. Okay. So it's called Crack the Code, Free Yourself from Procrastination. There's 50 different achievements, and the achievements are broken down: lesson 1, video, audio, and then the PDF slides. So each lesson is actually 3 parts to it. So as you go through, this is just the welcome to the course. You can see this green dot right here. When I hit next, bam, it says check mark done, achievement 1 of 50. Now, video, audio, PDF slides right here. If we click the video, it simply just starts playing the video. Oh, this is where I left off last night after I was just given the course a first look through. You can't hear any audio, but she's talking right now. And then so this course is all about procrastination and getting beyond procrastination. And this part threw me for a loop yesterday. So I saw this. Research shows that at least 95% of people admit to procrastinating at least sometimes, and 20 to 25 are chronic procrastinators. I really feel that I fit in that chronic procrastinator camp. So this course is going to be incredible for me. What is procrastination? Why do we procrastinate? The downside of procrastination. Great. Now, motivation and procrastination. There's only 2 lessons if I remember in this one. The motivation equation, goals as super fuel, so setting goals. Speaking of goals, we'll get to more of that on that in a little bit. Section 3, this is where I think the meat of the program is. There's 8 lessons total within this section right here. Dealing with distractions, that's a problem for future self. Why you won't feel like it tomorrow. Whoop, there it is, PDF. Okay, sweet. So she's got a lot of killer stuff. And as a conclusion, just one section here for the conclusion right here. You can see video, audio, and the PDF and everything. If we go to, you can see this slide right here. Go back here, the PDF. Let's see here. As we go down, bam, it's just a slide by slide. So what you need to do, the slides aren't good enough, What you need to do with a course like this, and what I'm going to be doing, is I'll be sitting here with my Word document open up on the other screen, and as I'm listening to her, I'll be just typing in stuff, whatever she talks about, things that I want to take into the future with me. So I'm really looking forward to this course, and I've actually already communicated via direct messenger with Dr. Patricia Cardner, and next week, after I finish this course, next Friday, I am going to come back on for a study session where I give you my 1 sheet about this course, all the most important stuff I learned, along with my 5-question quiz. And then shortly after that, I don't think we'll do a live interview, but she agreed to do an interview. And then so I'll actually record an interview and put it out in the podcast. So I'm going to have Dr. Patricia Cardner on the podcast, which is really awesome for me. I've been wanting to do more interviews, and she is a great guest. We've heard her earlier in this week on another podcast doing an interview. She knows her stuff. I'm totally looking forward to talking to her face to face, Skype to Skype, whatever, Skype avatar to Skype avatar, that kind of a thing. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So this course is it's on her website, peakpokermindset.com. And, we've got the Crack the Code course. We have Rev Up Your Poker Success and Peak Poker Performance course. And then so I've completed this one. It was a very good course about setting goals, and I highly recommend it. It's free. So before you decide, to purchase this one, try her 2 free courses. See what you get out of it. See if you like it. See if you like her teaching style. And if you do, shebang, you buy that course. And hopefully the goal is to get beyond procrastination, because I suffer from it far too much. It's a detractor for me. But let me see. I think I can get to, if I go to dashboard, Okay, cool beans. So rev up your poker success. I did it 100%. I completed it. And then in peak poker performance, which I have the book. I haven't finished the book yet. You can see I'm not really too far into it, but I will get it done. Oh, I should finish that before the interview. Let me make a note. Okay, so I have to finish the book, do the course before our interview. So I have plenty of stuff to talk to her about, and so that I seem knowledgeable. That's key in an interview. Let's see. So resume course right here. I started this one, 14% done. 1 out of 7 achievements. So there's 7 different steps or things to go through right here. Peak poker performance activities. Now this is a free course. You can get it yourself. 12 item grit scale. I love grit. I love the idea of grit. So, grit scale. So I guess in the book, maybe I haven't gotten there yet. Let's take a look at growth mindset. I'm just looking at the table of contents right now, seeing if I see grit anywhere. I might have already seen, just missed the word, but I bet you grit is a big part of this book. I don't see the word anywhere, but I'm sure there's a chapter or a big section on grit. Transform your mental game. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be reading this one real soon. Cool beans. Well, anyway, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the book, and then I'm going to go back through this free course. Science of Achievement, Perfect Practice, yep. So I'm going to go through the book, then I'm going to finish this course, and I'm going to finish the other course. Then I'll do the interview with her. So it's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be totally worth it. Anything that you can do to improve your mindset is faux show worth it here. So, I want to go back to that. I'll finish the course, as I recommend we all should do with every course webinar we purchase, and I'll report back next Friday, the 5th, and it is a holiday. It's a worldwide holiday. It's Guardians of the Galaxy 2 Day, May 5th. I'm going to be there. I hope you will be too. I will have a 1-sheet and a 5-question quiz when I do my study session next Friday on this the book and the course. And then I'm going to ask Dr. Carter to do an interview for the podcast. I typed this out yesterday, and then I asked her about it, and she said she's totally down for it. So no need to do the fingers crossed. Should be thumbs up, because she's coming on. And there's 2 free courses here at peakpokermindset.com, and you have to check them out. I really recommend it. They're free. You can't lose by doing it. I guarantee you won't lose anything. You're not going to become dumber for looking at the courses, because she knows her stuff, of course. Alrighty, so that is that. Peak Poker Performance, I'm coming for you. So what I want to talk about right now, this is something that just occurred to me. I said last weekend I went out of town, and I actually had to go to Salt Lake City for something. But we drove from Fresno to Salt Lake City. The drive itself, if you MapQuest it, it's 11 hours or 11 and a half hours. It took us 15 hours, me, my wife, and my boys, right? And then you go Fresno, down through Bakersfield, over to Vegas, and then up to Salt Lake City. Kind of a fish hook, a jack, whatever. And it's interesting. I've been to Vegas quite a few times, driven there a lot. And it takes 6 hours normally to get from here to Vegas, right? It took the same amount of time this time. Bakersfield up to Vegas, it took 6 hours. But it felt super quick. Normally when I go to Vegas, I'm really eager to go to Vegas. I want to get there. I want to go gamble, want to play some poker, want to eat some buffets, catch some shows, whatever it is. But it feels like it takes forever. This time, because our goal was to go up to Salt Lake City, getting to Vegas felt super quick. It was just my perspective on the whole thing, because Vegas wasn't the destination, right? Salt Lake City was the destination. Vegas was a pit stop on it, and it felt like no big deal. It felt like, hey, we got there, super easy. Let's just continue the road after lunch. So it got me to thinking, perspective. We can all use better perspective on bad beats and emotional, or to help us with emotional control. Certain things irk me or send me on tilt. Like, for example, not catching my set. You know, every time you see a pocket pair of fives and you call pre-flop. The goal is to hit a set. And then let's say you miss 5, 6, 7, 10 sets in a row. You keep getting dealt pocket pairs, but you keep missing your sets. You know, damn it, this is terrible. And it can maybe not set you on tilt, but just ups your emotions. You know, why aren't I getting the good cards? Why does this guy get a set and I don't get it? That kind of thing. When you get sucked out on, that can definitely lead to tilt. Maybe pocket kings losing to aces, a fish beating me, my bluff's not working. All that stuff can kind of build up negative emotions and start you on your way to tilt. Well, let's change my perspective on things. Let's say I've got 50 more years of poker at 120,000 hands per year. That's 6 million hands of poker I'll be playing over maybe 10,000 sessions at 200 sessions per year, give or take. These are just estimates, of course. So here's the question. How many failed bluffs will I experience in my poker career? So if failed bluffs set me on tilt, for example, maybe not just the one failed bluff, but let's say I make 3 failed bluffs in a row and I give up. Let's say they're all 3 bets at 12 big blinds per 3 bet. That's 36 big blinds out. That's 1/3 of a buy-in. That could start to put me on tilt. You know, why are they always calling? Why don't they believe me? Is it my image? What am I doing wrong? Do they just wake up with it every time? Whatever the case is, right? So in every single session, let's say you're thinking well through your bluffs, you're trying to make good bluffs. Let's say you make, on an average session, this is 600 hands per session. Let's say you make just 10. We'll just give us 10 bluffs per session, which means 10,000 sessions in your lifetime, my lifetime. I'm going to be doing 100,000 bluffs. So if this next bluff doesn't work, so what? This is bluff number 395 out of 100,000. I better expect some more in the next 50 years. So if you think about it, my perspective on the situation, if this is my new perspective, things have changed. I'm going to suffer 100,000 failed bluffs in my career. Well, this is only number 395 out of that. I've got so many more. Why get worked up over this? This one doesn't matter. You think about 1 over 100,000. I don't even know what that is as a decimal. That's 0.0001. 10. Wait a second. So that's 1%. So 10 hundredths. That's 1,000th of 1%. This one failed bluff that I just now experienced is 1,000th of 100%. Whatever I just said. It's a very small drop in the bucket of my total bluffs at all, failed bluffs in my lifetime. Or bluff number 395 out. Bluff per sessions. 10 bluffs per session. Oh no, let's do this right here. Failed bluffs equals, we'll say just half the time. We'll say 40% of the time. Per session equals 40,000, right? So this is failed bluff number 395 out of 40,000. When you think about it that way, when you change your perspective, I'm going to suffer 40,000 bluffs total over the next 50 years, 40,000 failed bluffs, and this is number 395. Doesn't matter. Whatever. When you change your perspective, how many sets won't I catch? Well, let's take a look at Flopzilla real quick. Okay, when you have pocket pairs in your range, you flop a set, 3 of a kind, only 11% of the time. So let me think about this. 78 combos of pocket pairs. So you're dealt a pocket pair only 6% of the time. Equals 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 times 0.06 equals 360,000 pairs in 50 years. Only 39,600 sets hit. This means I whiff my sets 360 divided by 396 minus. This means I'm going to be whiffing sets 320,000 times in 50 years. This whiffed set is number 1,365 of 320,000. So it ain't no thing. So once again, if I'm whiffing sets and things aren't working out well for me, great news. I have 32,000 more whiffed sets in my 50-year career right here. So this is number 1,365. It's no big deal. Tomorrow or 5 minutes from now, I'm going to suffer number 1,366. Why get worked up over this one out of 32,000 instances that'll happen? How many terrible suckouts will I experience? Well, I don't know. It seems like you get suckouts maybe on average, let's say 2 times per session. So, and by terrible suckouts, I mean, you know, you have him beat on the flop or beat pre-flop with pocket kings versus jacks. And you're all in, actually, you know, and then bam, 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 he hits a jack on the river. Those kinds of terrible suckouts where you clearly have the lead, those only happen, I said 2 times per session, but really maybe on average just 1 time per session. Most sessions you don't see a super big suckout where you lose your stack or whatever. So out of 10,000 sessions, yep. So I'll suffer 10,000 terrible suckouts in my lifetime. Well, that's kind of offset by I'll be on the good side of terrible suckouts 10,000 times. We've all been there. We've all been sucked out pocket kings versus pocket jacks on the river. But we've all done the opposite. We've all won with 8-7 suited versus pocket aces. We've won with king 4 offsuit versus pocket aces, you know. So we've been on the good side of terrible suckouts plenty of times. If we get sucked out once per session, we're going to suck out on our opponents once per session. So why should I get upset that it just now happened? Why should my opponent get upset that I just sucked out on him? You shouldn't. You know, you got to just change your perspective. Realize that this one suck out is one time out of the next 10,000 you'll be going through. How many times will the passive fish beat me? How many flush draws won't hit? Let's just take a look at that real quick. How many times will the passive... you know, we don't need to answer that question. Who knows? So, who freaking knows? And what does it matter? It doesn't. That's the answer to that one right there. How many flush draws won't hit? So let's just look at a random board right here. That doesn't matter. Ace king suited. Oh no, let's not do that. Oh yeah, ace king suited. Let's give ourselves actual suits of hearts. Oh, I think I have to do that. Hit apply. Gosh darn it, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, uncheck that. Reset, hearts. What the frig am I doing wrong? Clubs. I already have it selected. I do not know what I'm doing wrong here. Don't worry about it. 6-3 suited, so I don't have to scroll. There we go. Goodness gracious. So you got to select it first, turn it the darker color, then do it. Okay, great. So we have the 6-3 suited of I don't remember what I chose. Clubs, right? Because it's green. Yeah. Okay. So let's say the board was of clubs, jack, deuce, and then an ace right here. Okay. So the flush draw, we have 100% of flush draws, right? But we're up against, let's say we're up against pocket kings that have no chance of anything really. So the equity right now, we basically just have flush draw equity. Our equity should get there a little bit less than 37% of the time because, of course, oh, let's not do that. Let's put it up here. No, let's not do that. Queen, jack and nine. So we don't have straight draws. 6 and 3, we don't have any backdoor straight draws. All we have is backdoor two pair and backdoor trips, right? So at this point, all we have is a flush draw, really. Our odds of hitting this flush draw are really small. 37% of the time we only hit. That means we whiff 63% of the time. We can actually up it a little bit to account for that. So let's say we whiff flush draw 66% of the time. So over the 50 years, we'll miss flush draws 2/3 of the time. So if you think about that, put that into perspective, we flop the flush draw, we can expect to really lose 2/3 of the time. Over the next 50 years, let's say we flop, 10 flush draws a night. Well, we should be losing 6 to 7 of those every single night, times 10,000 sessions. Geez, that's a lot of flush draws missing right there. Just things aren't pretty when it comes to hitting flush draws, so we shouldn't get worked up when we don't hit that flush draw. Treblage, the way I look at it, if you see a 1-out possibility happens 50 times, it would be weird if you didn't see it hit at least once. The more poker you play, the more you will see those suck-outs happen. You're absolutely right about that. Yeah, the more you play, the more you'll see. So, like, this is just a quick example of 200 sessions per year at 600 hands per session. If you play a lot more, you're going to see a lot more. So if you play a lot more, you should be worked up even less than me. Let's say you play double what I do. You should be experiencing double all these numbers in your 50 years. Don't get worked up over them. Think about the perspective. Think about how many times you are going to encounter this situation in the next 50 years or however long you end up playing poker. So it's all about perspective here, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. You want to gain perspective on your overall poker career. If all of us thought about it this way, if we all know that we're going to see failed bluffs 40,000 in a 40-year career, we're not going to get worked up over this one, whether it's a 3-bet, whether it's an all-in shove bluff, whatever. We're not going to get worked up over it. Yep. So that is my my idea about gaining perspective to help you get beyond. To help get beyond tilty emotions right there. Alrighty. So that ends this study session, the final 28th session of the 28 days. We're done. We made it. We completed the task. Didn't do one per day, but we made up for it with some double days there. So things were great throughout. I'm really happy I did this. Let's see here. The 28 days agenda now. So we finished this day. I'm going to come back in a few hours after I get my kids off to school and do some planning. I haven't created my one sheet or my 5-question quiz yet, so I got to go through all my notes. But I'll come back with a review of the plan from the start of the week. I'll cover day by day kind of what we learned. I'll review my one sheet, which I will create soon, review my 5-question quiz, and then I'll just do a little wrap up on the full 28 days of poker study journey. So thank you very much for joining me. For all of you who are just now tuning in, watching this last video, who haven't seen any other ones, thank you very much for joining. For everyone who's been there for a few videos, thank you very much. And for everyone who's been there and seen every single one, you're a trooper right alongside me. Thank you for studying and joining me on this journey. So I really appreciate it. I am out of here. It is 6:20. Got to go make the breakfast for the kids and get the day going, make some coffee for myself and my wife. So I'm out of here for now. Thank you very much, everybody, and I'll see you back here in a few hours.